Called Dr. Rajan Prasad.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you for the opportunity to avail myself of this honour to speak on the Governor-General's bill, and also to talk a little bit about the present Governor-General. I agree with all previous speakers who have already underscored, Mr. Speaker, the importance of this role and its symbolism in our nation state, its constitutional position, and indeed the wonderful work our present Governor-General does. The bill does give form to the work of the Law Commission, Mr. Speaker, on the role of the Governor-General and new mechanisms. And it sort of makes the arrangements for the Governor-General, the bill does, far more transparent and perhaps simpler to administer as well, and indeed modernises a lot of the language that's currently contained in that part of the Civil List Act that pertaining to the Governor-General. So it is timely, and it does all of those things for us. Perhaps, Mr. Speaker, the one part of the bill that gives me great joy is the acknowledgement of the spouse of the Governor-General, the work that in this case Lady Susan Satyanan does day in and day out alongside the Right Honourable Sir Anand Satyanan. And I want to register strong support for that part of the legislation that acknowledges the family of the Governor-General and indeed the spouse. It is also appropriate, and we support this strongly, that the Governor-General, and this particular Governor-General, like I'm sure the others, would want it to be no different, not to have any special privileges. So paying of taxation and matters like that this bill brings into being are also very strong and important aspects of this particular bill. Mr. Speaker, it's very hard to talk about a bill of this nature that brings all of the positive things about the office of the Governor-General, the funding into one place, without talking about the person who currently occupies the position. So who is this Right Honourable Sir Anand Satyanan? And I returned to about four and a half years ago, Mr. Speaker, when the announcement was made that at that time the Judge Anand Satyanan was nominated for the position of Governor-General. And without exception, there was great rejoicing in the country, particularly in my community, but certainly in other communities as well, that knew Sir Anand Satyanan and his background very well. I don't remember one voice criticizing at all why this person at this time be appointed to this particular position. So it was a great day for minority ethnic groups. I received a phone call today from a talkback host of a radio station, and the talkback occurred a couple of days ago. In fact, Kupenga, well known to a number of us in the House, said when they sat down and talked about the work of this Governor-General amongst the Maori community as well over the years, it was an endearing relationship between New Zealand and this particular Governor-General. He has been a model of race relations throughout the country. He's been a model of a person who is totally inclusive of every aspect of New Zealand society, and a tireless worker who works way beyond the call of duty, if you like, to be in touch with people, to communicate with them, to pass information across, to connect people together, and then to be there with himself and his family day in and day out. He does the same type of work for us overseas, Mr. Speaker, and has received tremendous accolades for the work he does overseas on behalf of us, of New Zealand, and of us as New Zealanders. And the most recent one, we see him giving medals out at the Commonwealth Games in a country that he loves, country of his ancestors as well. So, Mr. Speaker, when we reflect on the quality of this particular, the present Governor-General, it is, and relate who he is and his beliefs to the provisions of this bill, then there is nothing in this bill that he would even mildly object to. He would support and welcome the way in which the bill really does regularise his office. He won't be the beneficiary of it, but his successors. It is therefore, Prime Minister, Mr. Speaker, difficult to understand in the context of this person and this role what the last 2 weeks' debate has been about. One Paul Henry decides to have one of those moments and say something that can only be defined as racism. When you collect together a number of characteristics and you criticize a group on the basis of those characteristics and try to withhold positions from them, that is racism as technically defined, which is what he was doing. The bit, Mr. Speaker, that was difficult to understand was why the opportunity was not taken then and there to do the most powerful thing possible to stop that rot. When people in leadership, and particularly on public television, when they're confronted with issues like this, then they only have one shot at trying to kill the argument and propose the way in which people should behave. And I'm saddened that the Prime Minister did not take that opportunity at that point to really reflect this Governor-General and, if you like, the provisions this bill is trying to make for that political position, to say to Paul Henry, stop. This is not what you ought to be doing. You are talking about somebody quite different. And Mr. Speaker, I myself have been in positions like that many times. And to take that opportunity to really talk about this Governor-General in the sense in which I have and others have would have been a great opportunity to do so. And so it is not surprising that the reaction against that and for our present Governor-General over the last 2 weeks has been overwhelming. And so it's a matter of satisfaction that New Zealanders welcome the role of the Governor-General, the role of this particular Governor-General, the provisions that are being made here, and also are prepared to stand up and say that what was being propounded in the media was unfair. And because you know, being New Zealanders is something that once you achieve that status, either by birth or indeed by immigration, like I did. In the case of this Governor-General, is a New Zealander by birth. And I do support strongly and appreciate those people in positions of leadership who have stood up to say one ought not to do this to this particular position. This position represents all of us. This bill is making those provisions for this Parliament is now making firm provisions for the future and bring all of that together. And we must relate to the position in a way that's different. So I'm a little surprised that members opposite cannot see that there is a continuity here and that we ought to honour and respect the position of the Governor-General, understand who the person is, because there will be others. It'll be a woman next time. It will be a Māori member next time. It'll be a person from a different profession next time. It could be a Chinese person the next time. They all will be New Zealanders. They all will avail themselves of the provisions of this particular bill, and there will be our Governor-General. There will be our constitutional head, if you like. And I hope we will always stand up and support that position in this particular way. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Members, the question is that the motion be agreed to. Those of that opinion will say aye. Contrary will say no. The ayes have it.
Governor-General Bill, second reading.
This bill is set down for committee stage next sitting day. Call on Government Order of the Day.